People hate each other, but you've always been there for me.
That's nice. Welcome to the second Infusion. The place where conversations go that can't be spoiled.
John is single, by the way.
Well, so,
Sing for us, John.
no.
Let us hear your beautiful, beautiful voice.
Right.
Never mind that.
Let's go into first My Hero Academia.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start by saying I love this show, and I'm so glad you guys forced me, literally.
See?
Physically.
People keep saying that forcing people to do things is bad. All I do is force people to do things. It always ends up good.
Certain things that you do are good. Sometimes when you force people to do things, it's bad. It's not the fact that you're forcing them, it's what you're forcing them to do. So, don't take the wrong lesson.
Do you want to clarify that for anyone that might be getting nervous?
No, they should be nervous.
Good. So right now we're at a point, so to give ever so slight manga spoilers, though you might have been able to figure this out already, with each new arc, they managed to up the ante of seriousness of things going on. So in the first main arc, everyone was like, doing their high school stuff. We had the villains attack. They're just like, oh, shit got real because, two of the main teachers just kind of got screwed. Second arc was the, come on.
The test?
Yeah, the games. What'd you call it?
Or no, it was the school
festival. There we go.
Yeah,
school festival, and things began to get personal. We got the backstory of Todoroki. Oh yeah, my mom poured boiling hot water in my face.
yeah. That was something I wanted to talk about. That was the weirdest. Like, I'm gonna get back at my father for my mother abusing me. What is that? Like, okay, so his dad's obviously a bad person, so I could get him not using the fire just because he's terrible. But he's like, I'm only gonna use the ice because of my terrible father. So his mother's like not quite, but almost just as bad, because she's like abusive in different ways. His father's kind of like disconnected and sees him as a tool and kind of treats him as a thing.
Well,
But
don't forget, their marriage is not one out of love.
right, I understand that, but she loves her son.
I think
Up
she just
to
had
a point.
I think she just had a mental breakdown.
We actually haven't seen the boiling water happen.
Right.
You just saw it from his perspective when, he comes in and his mom is crying at wit's end, talking to presumably her sister or mother or someone in her family.
I assumed it was her mother, but yeah,
that's what I
someone in
always
her
assumed
family.
too. But anyway, she's just like, I don't think that I can take care of them anymore. I don't think I can take care of him anymore. He reminds me too much of his father. Is he the only boy?
No.
Okay, so she might not even have been talking about him. I don't think she says his name, but anyways, she's just crying. She's at wit's end, and then
There is 5 kids in the family, and he is the prodigy
oh,
one.
never mind. It was him because it's his right side reminds me too much of his father.
Yeah.
So
Mina's left.
left is it?
Yeah, his left, our right.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Sorry. And she specifies which side it is, and then he gets burned. It's archetypal.
'Cause if he saw that conversation and she'd be like, "Oh, I wasn't talking about you," she would freak. Like, presumably. So yeah, you're right. We haven't seen the actual event, but it is pretty suspicious.
Well, it's something that DCFS would take him away from.
Yes.
her.
Well-
Instantly, the entire family.
Well, she was taken to a mental hospital, so she wasn't even taken
You're
to
right.
jail. She was taken to a mental hospital.
But
She
her
was taken
father
to
put her
regular
there.
hospital first.
Yeah.
So for all we know, that she
okay,
just
so the scene where he goes to visit her, and she's like looking out the window. I was expecting her entire face to be covered in burns.
That's dark.
Yeah.
Probably absolutely right, but she probably was healed by the old granny lady. I mean, he's the second strongest person on the planet.
What's his face's burn scar healed?
I get the impression because the father took it upon himself to just beat her senseless. We don't know how long that took, and then the police got involved in all that. Like, I imagine that hospital lady was working at the hospital. You know,
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions with that.
Yeah.
I do like how meta it got. This was a comic book, he'd be the main character.
Yeah, that was some nice, somewhat wall-breaking. But oh man, that he is the second strongest person, basically in the world, as far as we can tell.
You mean his father?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and he fits the role. You know, he's the one that, I mean, he's basically Vegeta. He's aiming for the top.
Or at least the current one that is known.
Yeah.
It
Because
is known.
Gran Torino is, like,
Awesome.
secret or something. Like, nobody knows about him.
I would take Fire Guy, Hellfire.
Yeah. But, Gran Torino was probably a lot stronger in his, his prime. Mm-hmm. He's obviously well past it, but it's kind of weird that there's like no record of his existence when he was All Might's trainer.
That's shady, and I want to get it. I wanted to get to him in a few minutes, but right now the topic is second strongest guy in the world. I wanted to equate him to Vegeta because he was born with the talent. I mean, like, you can't get much more destructive than fire.
Right.
So he has this natural gift, and All Might, why did I watch back? It was with you. Watching the first few episodes again, knowing what All Might is, and, seeing the world sort of evolve during the storytelling process is, it's wonderful, and it's one thing, but going back from Season 2 to rewatch the first 3 episodes with you, looking at All Might as he presents himself to Midoriya that first time, as this is the strongest guy in the world, he's so not full of himself. He's just like, bleh, well, you saw me like this, so just don't tell anybody, okay?
Don't tell anyone.
And he's just, like he's...
And also,
when you see him, he's coming out of a store, like, slacking off.
Yeah, and the number of people that know his secret keep increasing.
Yes, that's true, too.
Well, why? I thought you said there were only the 3 people, and he's like, oh, well, I
my
forgot
buddy.
about this guy.
He's my bud. And, he's totally just, go with the flow, fly by the seat of his pants. I'm just going to do the right thing, or I'm going to try to do the right thing. And most people just scold him because he messes up, like, 40% of everything. But he does everything else to such a high standard of excellence.
Yeah, he's a lunkhead, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Versus the other guy, he's all about efficiency. He was willing to make as many babies with this wife he didn't particularly seem to feel emotionally for until he got the perfect one, and he got it in, what's his name? Todoroki. I can never remember these names.
It's the weirdest thing. I don't know anyone's name on this show except for Midoriya.
I got Midoriya because it reminds me of several other names.
I only know it because Midoriya means green, and his entire being is green.
I never knew that. But yeah, that Midoriya really, really forcing Todoroki to use his powers against him, and turning that whole, his whole philosophy on his head. It was pretty cool that he was up to that point only using half of his power, and sort of like strengthening his will. But then, Midoriya just totally turned that on its head. It's your power, and to see him just like, oh, and then kind of, maybe I don't know if I got it. His character arc is fantastic.
Yes. And I think they kind of addressed it, but I think he saw it as Midoriya saw it as a victory, even though he lost, because he kind of
I think he blew himself out of the ring.
Oh, you think he lost on purpose?
No, I think that because they put up the wall, I think he blew himself out of the ring.
He used the force to push him back by accident.
Yeah, I think that because they stopped the force, I think it just rebounded on him.
Well,
and he also
entire wall blew up though.
Yes, but I think that he contributed to his out of bounds, both in terms of the meta story. By, he obviously could have done a heck of a lot better, and just beat him before he used his other side.
Yes. And
then also in that moment where the ice, the fire were coming at him, the ice obviously wasn't really stopped totally by the wall. And there were all kinds of forces that went into that, but I think I think that it was 30% of his force that knocked him out.
Okay.
Right in his face because he didn't really have a lot of time to do it. But he was also jumping, which was a bad choice.
Yeah.
From the ground up.
So, being in the unusual situation where I'm the only one who's read the manga, and you guys haven't.
That'll be corrected soon.
Well, we'll start off small.
I forgot to mention something in the regular podcast, but I'll save it for next week.
Fine.
Jerk.
Well, I'll
Baka.
I want to say what I read this week. I'll save it for next week since I'll probably still be reading it. Anyway.
So, with the next upcoming episode, it seems like, here's a name I can't remember. Ida-kun? Yeah, Ida-kun is not getting the lesson, which I'm loving, because so many times in shonen anime, there's like one character that says like, hey, here's a sentence that's obvious. Yeah, here's the obvious sentence. I get it now!
Yeah.
But here's like, we're saying this over and over again, he is not getting it, and by the end of the episode, he still wasn't getting it.
You mean like the...
like he is still wants revenge.
The guy he's interning with, who else? Midoriya says it.
Todoroki says it.
The slasher guy says it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The guy.
Ironically enough.
I love his character.
Yeah. Slasher?
Yeah. Stain.
Yeah, he is pretty good. What's his name?
Stain. The hero killer.
I like how he doesn't... Like, he rejects the villains because they're not heroic enough.
Uh-huh.
Their goals aren't altruistic. That's the best thing ever.
Well, my favorite thing about him is that he's creating more heroes.
Yeah.
Just like provably, like he has this insane philosophy. Like by being evil, I'll make more good. It's just like, well, you
actual good ones because he can see.
Right.
Like I saw,
he's cutting through the chaff.
Yeah, and I saw from the very first episode, like, oh, I'm hoping they're gonna do something with this. This obviously seems to be like a hero worshipping type of culture as opposed to like like we need the heroes to do good.
Like there was the one that
Mountain Lady,
the one girl that what's the creation girl and one girl from the other class we're interning with, and she was just like taking pictures all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to learn something from this.
It's that type of shit that Hero Killer Stain wants to end.
Yeah.
And I can understand him for that. Not necessarily the way he's going about it, but
it's effective.
It is.
Like, he's not only creating more heroes, arguably, he's creating a higher caliber of hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, what do you think will happen to Ida-kun next episode? With the conclusion.
Is this the last episode?
Well...
No, it's the conclusion of this arc.
Okay.
Let's see, we're on 28? 29?
I don't know.
I think it's so there will probably be another 10 episodes, 8 episodes. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he'll either learn his lesson, which I doubt he will, considering the number of times that it's been told, or he'll be the Sasuke. Or he'll get revenge on the guy and die doing it? Die in the process?
He's about to move. I think the last thing or one of the last things we see is he's moving.
Yeah.
He's moving his hand.
Yeah.
Midoriya is out. Todoroki is about to be out. If he's not out already.
Well, also the other heroes are on the way. Mm-hmm. So, unless somebody shows up, he's going to act.
Yeah.
And
he is not on the level of Stain at all.
No.
He's been shown that. But again, what I
his older brother, who was like his version of All Might, his equivalent of All Might, couldn't handle it.
I've actually been fighting a mild annoyance because all arc you've been like, Ida is going to do something or something's going to happen, and I've been like, I'm trying to focus on the story. So I mean, I'm trying not to jump to the obvious conclusions that you've been trying to feed me. I'm trying to just focus on the really neat teamwork that Midoriya and Todoroki displayed there. I'm trying to focus on the potential brilliance of Stain versus his potential just utter insanity. And everything else, it's just there's so many different combinations that I didn't really think I'd get to see. Like, we didn't even mention the full cowl. That was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was cool. And that's only 5%.
He's using it well.
He's learned from others. Okay, I think that's probably his biggest skill, talent, whatever you want to call it, is his ability to observe others and analyze their techniques. His 13 volumes of hero notebooks. Even just like on his classmates, like he has a page on Gravity Girl, and she gets all embarrassed about it. So,
and
he learned a lot of the things that he was using in combat against Stain were like some of the moves were from the explodey guy Bakugo
Kachan
that he was using when they were in like the building test. So that's a lot of his strength. That's probably his biggest strength that isn't handed down to him.
Yeah, which this brings us back to not the Great Bambino, the
Gran Torino.
The Gran Torino. Yeah. So I have to think about that every time I say his name. I loved his entrance. That he was pretending to be dead just to flip the expectation, just to flip it again, and he breaks the microwave. Maybe because of maybe All Might said that he imagined
so.
I think that's why he did it.
I think so.
I like how All Might's just a bad teacher.
Yes, he is.
They're making a trope of the stronger you are, the better the teacher you are.
Oh, he's a lunkhead.
And the Gran Torino had said, like, his strength, he only had one, and that was his body. Like, he did the right thing. And I think that that's an important teacher for Midoriya to have, because Midoriya represents the mind. And it didn't.
Yes.
They didn't just go the route of, like, what you think is the only thing that matters, or what you feel is the only thing that matters. They actually said, like, okay, that's beautiful. And All Might has instinct, and that's about it. And his instinct told him, like, this is where this needs to go.
As soon as he got his power, he knew how to use it.
Which one?
100%.
All Might? Yeah. So there's... Starting with action, that's important. And then, even in the case that you have all of the upper echelons, like your mental game all down, you still need to start with the base. You still need to start with your body. They did a great job, prepping that. They did a great job bringing his, intellect down into his weak, feeble, useless, basically, body. And now they're building that back up. And so it's coming to this point where, they're almost sparking. And I think that's why they went with the lines of sparks down his veins.
Yeah.
I think that's being shown. I think that I know obviously he's going to be the best hero ever, and that's going to have a different meaning at the end of it than we think. But I think that they're just showing that, this is beginning to spark. The Gran Torino is just a great teacher because he just, Midoriya operates well when things are stable, like when things aren't changing, he's golden, and that's what the Gran Torino just doesn't. He can't stand it. Like he spends half his time upside down, like he's just like wee.
Yeah.
So yeah, he offers so much to this show.
So from where you guys are at right now, going way far into the future, it seems like All Might know who the big evil mastermind is. He refers to him as that man.
That man.
What do you guys think that man might be?
The guy on the TV of the two villains.
Yes. Who's
like,
got the power to make no moves.
It's like a bar hideout, almost. What?
Who's got the power to make no moves.
That's his quirk?
Well, that's what he does. That's all we know.
That's what he's just been doing.
I think it definitely has something to do with how All Might got his power. I don't know if it's his predecessor.
They said he's been able to combine quirks from other people.
Yes, and
which
DNA.
Would imply that he can take them away and give them.
Well,
so
even still,
I don't think that it's got something to do with All Might, but I think it has something to do with One for All.
That's what I mean. It has something to do with how he got his power.
Yes,
and he said, "I was quirkless," so it has. I don't think that it's All Might. I don't think that he's smart enough, unless he traded his brains for brawn, but I doubt it. I think that it was either his predecessor or whoever gave his predecessors the power, or the corporation.
No, I think One for All is. It's like it's always been handed down.
He said it wasn't natural, and it was out of place. It wasn't like like a slip up, like it was probably translated wrong. I think it was just like he just said there's nothing natural about this power, in the sense that. Well, even in more than the sense that he wasn't born with it.
If you hand it down generationally, that wouldn't be natural.
It would be natural if it was handed down generationally.
At this point in the story, my thoughts were, what would happen if All Might took off 2 strands of hair and gave it to 2 different people? How would his power work?
Yeah, I was thinking, like, what if somebody just stole a hair and ate it?
Yeah. So we know the power gets passed down, and there's some kind of time limits until the power gets fully shifted or something. Because All Might has said, my powers are going away because I did this. But what happens, again, if he gives it to 2 people at the same time? We don't really know how All for One works.
Yeah.
We know that some passing down happens because Midoriya had the, mental thing of, they're all watching me when he was being brainwashed.
That's why I think it's a... not hereditary, what's the word? Like a passing down kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. They also said that he's like the 8th successor or something.
Something like that,
yeah.
So that would be a lot of years.
All Might is the 8th, and Midoriya is the 9th.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking at that point, when he said, it could be that man.
What you were thinking what?
Like the old stories about the dojos where there's one student that's the favorite, and then the other one goes and wants to kill his teacher.
Yeah, that's All for One got split into 2 separate branches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's All for One and None for all. No, I would say None for all.
None for all. Well, that would make sense. I mean, All for One, One for all, they will play with that.
Yeah, well, All for One, One for all. That's what I'm saying. None for all.
Yeah,
because that is like the opposite of love is not hate.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. It definitely has something to do with his origins.
All for One sounds better if you're trying to take over the world, or if you're stealing people's quirks.
All for
all
one,
your quirks are for one. One quirk for everybody who wants it.
For me.
So All for One and just Sauron, the One Ring.
Basically, yeah. All of them for me. One to rule over them all.
No, that'd be like Heroes. Like the evil guy from Heroes and the good guy from Heroes. Everyone gets his power.
The TV show.
I don't remember.
2005 TV show.
Before CG existed.
Yes, exactly.
Before then.
That's an in-joke. Sorry, guys.
You idiot.
Right. So,
speaking of TV shows, or are you going to keep on?
No, after My Hero Academia, the next one, Dragon Ball Super. And oh my god, was I just a little kid when I was watching that episode. So, everyone's got their own opinion on Broly himself. My opinion, he's not a deep character. But
really?
Yeah, but the niche of just, Berserker who destroys everything, he fills it well. And
yes,
they did such a good job with paying homage to it. Even down to, the name part. She wasn't saying Kakarot, but she was just saying Son Goku.
Yeah, that was my least favorite thing about Broly, and they made it my most favorite thing about her. By the way, for those of you that want to show this episode to your friends, if they're caught up, Nick over here wasn't sure if he had seen Broly, so we just stopped everything and watched abridged Broly.
Well, I have not seen any of the Dragon Ball movies, but I do watch the abridged movies when they come out. I forgot I watched the Broly one, and then I remembered when they made me watch it again.
Yes, we did.
I remembered within 2 seconds of starting it.
And also, for anyone who is complaining about the Kamehameha by Super Saiyan Blue Goku, don't forget, his whole thing with Super Saiyan Blue is ki control. He can control his power to the point where he can fight Krillin with it. That was not a full power Kamehameha, but it was strong enough. And so it still made the fact that she walked through it, another homage, just so awesome. Now, my real thing is, if she was that powerful, and Gino just I'm gonna blast it away, it is done. How strong is that bastard?
Yeah. That was a little bit disappointing, but that was something that they did throughout the whole episode, is they played with my disappointment and then not. What was the thing they did before that? Let me think about it.
Frieza. Frieza, another example of everyone's disappointed, but he's still doing it so well. Oh man, how can I forget his name? Akira Toriyama. Everyone's just nah, come on, we're sick of Frieza. But so far, everything has just been on point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I meant in this episode, but yeah, that was true. I really was not looking forward to Frieza. And they just made him a sick bastard. The only current voluntary ring out. Oh my god. No, it was. It doesn't matter. There was another moment of disappointment, and then so Jiren just blasts Broly out basically, and I'm like, oh well, I was expecting more than that. And then Hit approaches with his hands out of his pockets, just oh, and then Goku shows up and oh. That was a satisfying ending. So hype.
Oh man. And I have so far not seen anything about the next episode, which I'm happy for so far. Please don't ruin the internet. I mean, with episode 100...
how would they?
Episode 100, just pictures of, Broly Kale, just freaking everywhere.
Before the episode came out?
Yeah.
How?
People taking pictures of next episode preview.
Whoa. And then we watched it, what, was it Sunday?
Yes.
And I made the mistake. I wasn't thinking. I went on to Facebook, and there was something that, in big words was Jiren eliminates Super Saiyan Legend, whatever, whatever the Broly character's name is. I'm like,
Kale.
Oh, why? And this was moments before we watched it.
I don't know why people do that.
It's just why
I don't get
would
it.
you
It's the
say
same
that?
thing with Game of Thrones and with The Walking Dead last year. It's I just watched this episode. Better go on the internet and write spoilers for everybody to see.
In the titles and stuff. It wasn't a surprise to me that Broly was going to be making an appearance after setting it up to have made an appearance. It would have been disappointing had she not transformed.
Right.
But to have, Jiren blasts out, it's stop.
Yeah, it's just Why? Why do you need to do that?
If you are out there doing that, shame on you.
You're a bad person. But what really bothered me was last year with The Walking Dead when which I don't even watch anymore. I watched the first 2 seasons, but they within a day, the same day it came out.
Within an
hour, everybody knew what happened during the season premiere or finale. Finale.
No, the premiere was what mattered.
The thing where the guy died.
The premiere. Yeah.
The thing where the guy died.
Yeah, I remember everyone was just angry at the finale.
We're spoiling everything, but now as we're talking about everything being spoiling, yes, there was that one man.
The thing where the guy died.
Glenn.
He said it.
But my favorite was your description of it. You were looking at game facts about something. Do you like games? And you're like, well, sure,
yeah,
do I?
It's these completely unrelated things where they're just taking it's almost as if they embraced spoiler culture and
it's spoiler and clickbait fused.
Yes.
Do you want to get loans for
top
school?
7 facts about Glenn
schooled.
dying. Click here. You won't believe number 5. He died. What are you doing? Come on.
Do you like games? Glenn got gamed last night on.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's why are you doing this?
We mean he died.
Who put you up to this? Who gave you this idea? This terrible, terrible idea.
Do you like Dragon Ball Z? Well, Glenn can't use the Dragon Balls after his death.
Too bad there's no one to collect the Dragon Balls for Glenn. Oh, man. Speaking of people dying, Game of Thrones. Lots of people dying. Not as much as last week.
No.
Not nearly as much.
That's okay. Because we got named characters this week.
we don't need a huge death count, just an important one.
And we got a few of them.
Wait, what am I saying? We don't need a death count.
We don't need a death count?
People dying in Game of Thrones is sometimes bad.
Sometimes it is bad.
We don't always need people to die.
So
not always.
We got the return of Reek.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't really return.
Oh, he's back. And I'm glad.
I mean, first of all, he already returned. But why are you saying he's returned?
He reeked out.
Yeah.
He
was fighting up until that point. Then he saw everything that was going on. He's like,
nope.
He
pulled a reek.
Yes.
He covered it out.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him after what he's been through, and he just saw, what was it, somebody getting his tongue cut out?
Well, yeah, it wasn't even that. It was the helplessness of him not being able to help his sister. And he was put back on the, in the helpless position, and no, really, come and get it. Do what you want to do. Yeah, and his uncle was doing the same game as Ramsay. Just
there wasn't a whole lot he could do.
There was nothing he could do. By the time he got there, she'd be dead. But the point is less that. He should have tried.
And he didn't really have any weapons or anything.
He dropped his sword. He had his sword up until that point. He was fighting.
Did he?
Yeah, he was a fighter up until that point.
Yeah.
But it was the situation.
He didn't have any weapons that he could use.
No, he was killing people.
Yeah, he was straight up murdering.
Okay, in a hostage situation where you're 20 feet away from the person, there's nothing he could do with a sword. Right? He didn't have a bow. He didn't have a throwing dagger or whatever.
He had a sword that he could throw.
He couldn't throw. Okay, he could do that and cut his sister's arm off, but I don't think she'd be too happy with him as his guardian or whatever she called him.
Well, but she'd be alive. This is all far too logical. What he was.
She's alive, right?
No, I don't think so. She might be, but I
think she's going to be a gift.
She's unknown.
I really don't think
that's what we were talking about earlier. What is Cersei's his gift for Cersei?
His gift for Cersei will be probably the sister, the one living Sand Snake sister, and then Mommy.
Yeah, because they were the ones that poisoned their daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't think that the girl has anything to do with anything that they care about. And right now, she's the only one that could.
She is a general,
and she was teaming up with Daenerys to kill the queen.
Right.
So just for public execution, then
she's a general in the current biggest threat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he gains anything from keeping her alive. The other two I see, because that's just the gift value for Cersei.
They're also Iron Islanders, so huge rapists.
Yeah. Yes, I know. So that was more than heavily implied. But I mean, just in terms of her, like,
I mean, you can't get any subtler with that, or any less subtle with that implication.
Yeah. Well, okay. Changing subject slightly. His scene coming aboard the ship.
Yes. Hey
Hi.
It's me.
God.
Crazy.
It's me. I
love imagining. I love imagining his conversation. Like he's having right before that. Like I wonder how long he was holding on to that boarding.
They had to practice a couple times beforehand, so it the first 2 takes were kind of tiring. So the third one, that's when it really took the energy out.
I mean, and what he's using, wasn't it like it was an axe, right?
It was an axe.
Yeah.
It was an axe. I mean, it was a big, huge, heavy axe.
It was, if I remember correctly, it was an axe, but it had like kind of a
hammer,
a pick at the bottom.
Okay, yeah.
So he could have like used it as like a
stabbing or slicing.
No, as like a hook to get at the top,
like a boarding sort of weapon.
Well, the thing that dropped down, like the sort of bridge, that was like it had like piercers.
Right.
That's not going anywhere.
Right. I'm just saying
but he had like a thing that you could use to like hook onto stuff.
I'll have to look at that again. But anyway,
Yeah.
I remember it being like needlessly large.
Yes.
Like almost comically large. Which made it the perfect weapon for him, and man, did he use that thing. But the amount of grip strength that thing would be, that you would need to wield it effectively, just like, of all the things you could be doing before wielding that weapon is just like hanging on to this boarding plank. Oh, man. So yeah, that happened. What else happened? Tyrion... No, I'm thinking last episode.
Jon Snow going south?
Yep. And Sansa's in charge, much to Littlefinger's appreciation, I'm sure.
Much to Littlefinger's erection. I mean...
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I really loved that Jon loved him. I really loved that Jon yelled at him when he was in the catacombs.
Look, man, it's not creepy. I wanted to bone your mom, and your half-sister is close enough.
I just want to be upfront about this. So we're cool, right?
Your sister's kind of hot.
Get out.
Reminds me of your mother. Or fake mother.
And the psychologist in me wonders if the Targaryen blood in Jon Snow precipitated the unusual outburst in the catacombs. Then again, I think really he was predisposed to not liking Littlefinger. I honestly think Littlefinger was trying to antagonize him for some reason, only known to Littlefinger.
Yeah.
Because Jon Snow was already... I think it had something to do with he had heard how Littlefinger betrayed his father. Maybe that was it. Because he was already more...
And the thing with Sansa and...
well, that's what I mean. Like, Sansa came after that. Like when
he was the one who was responsible for getting her sent up north to begin with.
So there's a few things.
Like, Littlefinger is negative in all kinds of books, except he sent the army.
Yes, and literally saved his life and got him back his homeland.
Yes, and Littlefinger's like, but I sent you the army.
Yes.
Why aren't you thanking me? Well,
he's right.
He's right that he saved them, but like, think of all the other bad things that he did. It's like Joffrey saying, well, I sent the guard to protect you during the night. Well, so?
I don't know if it's quite on that level.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So, Jon Snow was uncharacteristically frank and curt with him. In a way that kind of surprised me.
Don't forget, he was the one who betrayed his dad.
I said that.
Yeah.
And we don't know, because that was a pact in secret, by the way. So I don't know if he knows about that. I for some reason just want to believe that he does, because that was the way he acted towards Littlefinger was uncharacteristic.
Everybody in, like, you know, who's in the know on something thinks somebody else thinks different people did it.
Right, because
like, there's so many. It took like 4 or 5 books to eventually get to figure out who was behind it.
Yeah, and like if you look at the history books or the events, which is all Jon Snow was honestly privy to, you know, Ned Stark had his group of homies, and then the Night's Guard seized him. So it seemed like it was a feudal effort against the crown based in pride, which isn't very far from the truth. So, you know, it just seemed like it was just an assassination attempt as opposed to a military coup, you know?
Uh-huh.
So, and it was thwarted. And I'm sure that's how they played it up. But anyway, yeah, that was, like, from the first moment he came down like, I know, I want to talk to you. And he's just like, you're not supposed to be here. And, you know, he's biting his tongue out of respect, possibly, and... for Littlefinger to bring up, like, your mother, yes, oh, I loved her, and your sister, very nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, what are you doing? You know you're doing something. He's not, you know, unsocial. He uses social manipulation to his game.
Yeah.
Always. And so he's up to something
That's
with
the only thing he does.
That was a bizarre scene.
If he's not manipulating someone, he's lurking.
So, anyways, I really think that he was up to something there, and I just don't know what yet. What else happened?
Daenerys gave the nice good morning to the spider. You betray me, you might not have balls, but I'll find a way to cut him off again.
That was awkward. No, she was going to burn him alive. I'd expect nothing less. You know, that was just a kind of awkward scene to watch. Like, I get what they were trying to do, but that was a long conversation. Yeah.
Why?
It was just...
Well, Varys was the one who sent people to kill her.
I get it, but...
It was an awkward situation, but I don't think it was an awkward scene.
It was awkwardly... You weren't supposed to feel comfortable. Like, I'm saying it wasn't... I'm not saying that they did it wrong. They did it mostly right. It's just, it felt awkward. It should have felt awkward, but it felt really awkward. You know? Just like, okay, yeah.
And... a potential sad thing, they have a weapon that can kill a dragon.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do not want to see that used.
The giant trebuchet
I don't want to see that used.
Not trebuchet, what's it called?
No, it's a trebuchet, isn't
No,
it?
trebuchets are giant slingshot things.
Oh, like a giant crossbow. What is that called? Whatever it is, giant crossbow.
Yeah.
Basilisk? Something like that?
Basilisk.
Not basilisk, but something with a B.
Bullshit
ballista.
is what it is.
Ballista, there we go.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I wouldn't mind if the dragon got like that cool scar over his eye that all badasses have, but if it's going to go the other way, not a fan.
I really hope that it's like heading straight for it for the dragon, and the dragon's just like fire and it disintegrates midair.
Yeah.
That would be the best.
And we also got a confirmation that you can have sex even without a penis.
Oh yeah, that was interesting too. That was another awkward scene.
Yeah.
That was awkward. It's like, just pretend.
Intentionally, again.
Right. So I think this pretty much wraps up the second infusion.